Thank you so much for joining me today. We have a familiar face, Kevin Hurt. Welcome back to Coffee With.
All right, thank you, Robin.
Today we have a different topic than when we talked to you last time, but I do want to ask you, how did it go with the uniform distribution?
It went fairly well. What we did not distribute, we distributed back to the schools and gave the schools the authority and the decision making to hand out to the kids, and we believe we collected nearly over probably 800 suits.
Wow.
Combination.
Right.
Pants and
Excellent.
and shirts.
Excellent. So. Today you're here to talk about Cub Scouts.
Sure.
And help me with all this terminology here. You are
I'm an assistant Cub master.
Assistant Cub master, and you're a den leader.
I'm a den leader for this year for our bear den, which is a group of third grade boys. I've got about probably 12 or 13 boys that I'll be responsible for.
Well, tell me a little bit about your pack. I mean, not your pack, but about
Sure.
Cub Scouts and why you're involved in it.
I was a Cub Scout when I was growing up. Kind of a joke about our house about my mom and dad worked, and I wore my little blue suit in the back of a taxi every weekday or once a week to my den meetings, and I love Scouts so much. I said I want my boys both to be involved in Scouting.
Now, why were you taking a taxi to a Cub Scout
Because
meeting?
my mom was working, my dad was working.
Were you in a city?
Well, a small town,
Okay.
and back then you had den meetings in people's homes, and so I had to catch a ride through a taxi to go to my den meeting.
Okay.
So
I thought maybe you were going to tell me you lived in Manhattan or
No.
Chicago. And,
I lived in
that's the way people travel was in a taxi cab.
But that's what I did, and like I said, I enjoyed Scouts when I was a kid. I moved up through the ranks from back then. Scouts started, I think, in second grade, and I went all the way till I was a teenager, and had years and years of scouting fun. And like I said, I desire that for my own two boys. My only regret is I never reached Eagle Scout, and so that's my goal for my two sons. I try to keep that before them, and I have I have a older son who's a Boy Scout this year, and then I have my youngest that's a Cub Scout.
And what are some of the things y'all do in the...
Oh boy, yeah.
I know,
A lot
I know.
of things.
Look, I've been down at Rocky Springs when they descended upon us.
We're going to be there in a week next weekend.
And one night it was pretty late. I mean, I was already in the tent asleep, and I heard it was like maybe midnight. So I got up and I went out there, and
They were setting up.
they were ants, really. They looked like boys, but there were so many. It was an anthill. And I walked over to one of the leaders and I said, "What are y'all doing?" And he said, "Well, we're from Baton Rouge and we can't find a place to stay. And, if we're really, really quiet, would you mind if we pitched our tents?" And I said, "Go ahead." I mean, how can you say no to that?
Well, we're going camping a week from Friday, and we're going to Rocky Springs, and we hope to take just a couple of boys. One thing that's unique about scouting that's changed, Cub Scouts, we camp as families, and so mom and dad's encouraged to go. They have to go, a parent, in order to go camping, and parents stay together in the families stay together in their own tent.
Do they bring their other little kids with them?
They can bring their siblings, and it's just a lot of fun. That's one of the things that I think I've enjoyed is camping with my two sons together.
Does your wife like to camp?
No, she's a stay-at-home mom, major stay-at-home. But one day we're going to drag her out there. I don't, maybe as a kid, but
it's so much fun.
But it's a little bit of work too.
Oh, it is. But there's nothing like getting tired from camping. I mean, you do some good sleeping,
But we'll go camping. I didn't bring a Pinewood Derby car, but we always build the Pinewood Derby car itself and race them. Have those races, I think, in March of every year. And the neat thing, I think, that's exciting about how they've changed Cub Scouts from when I was a kid is that kids get to really work on specific awards quickly and earn those awards. Everything from astronomy to chess to we're going to work on an award in 2 weeks when we go camping on nutrition. We're going to do that together, and we'll work on a hiking an award. So it's the kids, they work on their activities and they're quickly rewarded for their efforts. And of course they get to wear them on their uniforms, and it's just it's an exciting time for them to be recognized for their efforts.
Do they get to wear the uniforms to school these days?
We've talked about that. I've talked to one of the principals where my son goes, and I think she's leaning toward for us to do it. I think it's good. I've talked to my youngest son. and a friend of his, and they were interested in doing it. I just haven't gone through it. But I think in Vicksburg that decision is left up to the principals, and we may do that. We'll see.
I know when I was a Brownie, whatever day we had our meetings, we always wore our Brownie uniforms to school that day.
Right. And
of course, the meetings were right after school.
And I'm thinking that as a parent too, that's just another set of clothes that you've got to take care of too.
Yeah,
so it's
true.
I'm looking at it as a
And you know
thing for the kids get to wear it in pride.
Yes.
And it helps advertise
right.
Cub Scouts and like I said, we're checking into that and see what we might do.
And you know, it seems like I remember that when I was younger, it seems like some of the Boy Scout and Cub Scout troops were somehow affiliated with churches.
Yes.
And they would be recognized in a group within that particular church.
Each pack has to be sponsored by either a school, an organization, and many churches are the ones that sponsor.
Okay.
And that's good. That's healthy because it gives us the use of the facilities. It builds a relationship. We will have Scout Sunday in a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, and we're encouraged as Scout leaders to participate in those worship services. And the pack that we're a part of is at Hawkins Methodist Church off of Hawkins Road, and we meet there on Monday evenings at 6 o'clock. And the church has always been gracious to allow us to have our pack and den meetings there, and it's a good relationship.
Okay, if someone has a child that is not currently in Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts and they're interested in investigating it, are there any costs associated with it?
There is a few dollars that are involved. I'm sorry, I cannot remember all the costs, but it's very low, maybe $12 altogether, $15. Part of that it goes to a district fee. Our district is the Andrew Jackson Council out of Jackson, Mississippi, and some of those monies go there. And then we have some financial support back to our pack, and then part of that money, if parents want it for their children, is to let them have subscriptions to Boys Life. And Boys Life is a monthly magazine that the kids are able to read. I have a story about Boys Life. When I was a kid, I loved all the jokes that were inside of the Boys Life. I used to cut the jokes out, put them in an envelope, and go around telling jokes. And I remember distinctly my brothers paying me money not to tell jokes. So anyway, it was a lot of fun, but it was a great magazine and very interesting. Let me tell you something that I just read in a recent article from the Scouting magazine. Baseball card shops across America are trying to encourage, obviously, card collecting. And nationally, these shops are allowing packs to come to their business, and they're giving them a collector kit and a specific collector patch. And we've talked about with our den and our possibly our pack to go to one of those shops in Monroe as a group to participate in that. And so it's just neat things, variety of activities that kids can be involved in. We worked last year on a chess award, a belt loop and a sports patch dealing with chess, and that was the first time many of those second graders at that time that I was leading had ever seen a chess set. And so it was fun trying to teach second graders about chess, but it was wonderful, and they earned those awards. And
well, and that's the time to teach them when they're young.
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So we looked at the history of chess and some of the famous world players of chess, and it was just neat exposure. We've been to the courthouse on tours. We've been to a fire station as what we call Let's Go See It, and we've like I said, we've had special emphasis in our den meetings. We've looked at art. Famous paintings that I love and that I wanted to expose our kids to. I pulled up pictures of Picasso and Rembrandt and some of these other portraits and said, kids, this is the history behind this. So it's varied in what they can learn, but it's always fun, something new, and you never know what's going to spark the interest of one of those kids, and that's why it's a good thing.
You never know.
That's right.
You never know. Okay, so if somebody wants some information, you gave your cell phone number out very freely last time you were here. Are you going to do that again?
No, I talked to our Cub Master,
okay.
And he gave me some web pages
okay.
To pass on. One of those is BSA-Cub Jackson.org.
Okay.
BSA-Jackson.org.
And you're saying BSA as in Boy Scouts of America?
Yes.
Okay.
And at that website, you can see all the districts, all the a listing of the packs and the dens where they meet, and there are several different packs in Vicksburg, and we encourage your child to go where he feels more comfortable.
Yes.
And then the other thing is a telephone number. This is the Andrew Jackson Council, area code 601-948-6111.
And that's in Jackson?
That's in Jackson.
Okay.
And they can give you more information. So.
Thank you so much for coming back.
All right, Robin.
I hope
Always
you'll be back
appreciate it.
again.
All right, thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Great.
Promotional consideration provided by
Amber Sanders from Happy Hair. Get your hair happy at 3402 Wisconsin Avenue.